At what point does a watch stop being a tool and starts being a work of art? For a long time, we have had this debate where I say that watches are no longer just for telling time. And my friends from Venezianico have helped me perfectly to prove this point. Usually, when we talk about wearable art pieces, we refer to brands that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, with handcrafted decorations, moving animals, and everything that it's adorned perfectly, and that makes a watch belong in a museum. But what would you think if I tell you that there is a certain way you can experience this same thing without having to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars? Usually in the watch world, the most beautiful experiences, those with the most history, are reserved for a few people who can actually pay a lot of money to enjoy that experience, that history. From the manufacturing, the craftsmanship. And that's where Venezianico comes in. Now, before I continue this review, I have to tell you, I have been working with the people of Venezianico for quite some time, and their work to me seems spectacular and admirable. And if I didn't believe that, believe me, I wouldn't be working with them. And this watch they sent me proves that watches are not just for telling time, and that you can enjoy an extremely exclusive experience without having to spend too much money. This is the Redentore Bellanote, and I believe I do not have to tell you why I think it is a work of art. This watch represents the celebration held every year in Venezia, where they celebrate the end of the plague. They call it the Day of the Redeemer. On the dial we have the basilica, and we have other elements such as fireworks. We have a mother of pearl dial, and in my opinion, it looks like if the moon was reflecting behind the basilica. And then we have the starry sky with that aventuring part. Please tell me, which other watch brand in the world can you find something similar to this with a price tag of around 700 euros? I have said it before, and I said it in my review of the Redentore Ultra Black. The finishing of the case is extremely good. We have a high polish all around the watch and a brushed finish on the sides, which is spectacular. But once you focus on all of the details of the dial, you realize that it is a world of details. What I like the most is that we have different levels around the entire dial. For starters, we have the blued hands, which I love that they are actually blued due to heat and not paint, because I feel that the painted ones diminish the quality feeling of the watch a lot. And if you notice, they are quite elevated to be able to pass over the column with the lion. I feel that this is not a detail we see every day, and it adds an extra touch of the craftsmanship that makes this watch. A level below, we have the detail of the basilica that has the column rising on the dial, and we have a lot of details that we get with the buildings around the watch. We have different finishings, different textures, and above all, we have different depths that makes us feel all that volume and distance. It makes us feel like we're in Venezia, literally. Then, on another level, we have the mother of pearl dial with an incredible play with lighting. It changes colors perfectly. And we also have the Venezianico cross and the black text, which are perfect. Now, a level below, we have the three circles that represent the fireworks. Obviously, the fireworks from the celebration of this special day in Venezia. And to finish all of the dial, we have the aventuring glass background, which in my opinion is one of the best details that Venezianico does. This dial makes you feel like you are truly in the square of Venice at midnight, watching the fireworks and the show and the celebration, but above all, watching how the stars shine through the dial. The case is 40 millimeters, and the movement is a Seiko automatic micro movement, which obviously helps to be able to have the watch with an off-center dial. But I believe all these details take a backseat. Because let's go back to the discussion of this watch not being just for telling time. Now, why would Venezianico make a watch like this? While all other brands stick to classic and commercial designs, for me, this Italian brand is one of the few that take risks. They seek to do something different, they evolve, but above all, they recognize their roots. This watch doesn't represent a party, it doesn't represent a celebration. It does not represent a special day. I mean, of course it does, but what it actually represents is history. It represents that the people of Venezia never gave up, despite it being basically a pandemic like the one many of us also lived through and have pretty fresh in our memory. This dial represents life. It actually represents the celebration of life. And it represents all of that lineage that runs through the veins of the brand and the founders and all of the people who worked there that had to chip in to make this watch a possibility. Now, stepping away from that poetic theme, I was just at a fair of very exclusive watches a few days ago. And I had the opportunity to have in my hands watches that are worth $300,000, $600,000, or even much more expensive watches. And the common factor that all of these brands and all of those watches have is the craftsmanship. It's all of that artistic spirit they have, and that it is not just a device that tells you the time. I know it does, but if you need a watch that tells the time, it is all that artistic spirit they have, and that it's not just a device that tells you the time. Because yes, we know it tells the time, but I think we are more advanced in that discussion, and I believe that your understanding and my understanding of this topic is greater to just say that watches are meant to tell the time. Any brand can create a basic watch. Any person can buy watch parts and assemble them at home. But to do something like this, you need creativity, you need lineage, you need a certain degree of mastery in your craftsmanship. I am not saying that the whole watch is handmade, but to be able to develop this project, obviously you need to know what you are talking about. You need a certain trajectory. And above all, I believe people, but most importantly the brand, needs to know their story. This watch tells a story. It tells it through art and all of the details it has. Because if you want a watch that only tells time, go spend $10 on Amazon and buy yourself a basic watch. But if you want a true piece of art, if you want to have that experience of a very expensive watch without paying so many zeros, I think this is a perfect option. Thank you very much for watching this video. Remember that the launch of this watch will be on June 26th on the Venezianico website. I will leave the link below, and if you're interested, go, because at the moment I think there will only be 500 pieces made of this watch. But tell me, what do you think? Is this watch made for telling time or not?